Have you ever wondered what happens when one of the most respected macro investors in the world starts hinting that a major move in crypto could be closer than most people think? Well, that's exactly why the XRP community is paying very close attention right now. A recent discussion involving Raoul Pal has sparked a wave of excitement across the crypto market, with many investors believing that the conditions for a significant XRP rally may finally be coming together. While nobody can predict an exact date for a price explosion, the timing of Pal's comments has caused traders and long-term holders to look at XRP from a completely different perspective. Welcome back to Goldix XRP. Today we're breaking down why so many people are talking about Raoul Pal's latest outlook, what it could mean for XRP, and why some investors believe the next phase of the crypto market may be much bigger than expected. Over the last few years, XRP holders have faced countless challenges, from regulatory uncertainty to market-wide downturns. Yet despite all of that, XRP has remained one of the most discussed digital assets in the entire industry. Now, with growing institutional interest in crypto and increasing optimism across the market, many believe XRP could be entering a very important period. Raoul Pal has built a reputation for focusing on liquidity cycles, global macro trends, and the flow of capital into risk assets. His core argument has often been that when global liquidity expands, assets such as cryptocurrencies tend to benefit significantly. This is why many XRP investors are paying attention. They believe that if Pal's broader market thesis plays out, XRP could be one of the assets positioned to capture renewed investor attention. The discussion is not necessarily about a guaranteed price target or a specific prediction. Instead, it revolves around timing, market conditions, and the possibility that the next wave of capital entering crypto could create opportunities that have not been seen since previous bull market cycles. What makes this situation especially interesting is that XRP's story today is very different from what it was a few years ago. Ripple continues to expand its global presence, institutions are becoming more comfortable with blockchain technology, and regulatory clarity has improved in several areas. These developments are creating a foundation that many supporters believe could support stronger adoption over time. As a result, investors are now asking a critical question. If macro conditions improve and capital starts flowing aggressively back into digital assets, could XRP finally experience the type of breakout that holders have been waiting for? In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the signals that have investors watching the calendar more closely than ever before. To understand why investors are becoming increasingly excited about XRP, it's important to look beyond the headlines and focus on the larger market environment. One of the key reasons Raoul Pal's comments have attracted so much attention is because his analysis is usually centered on liquidity. In simple terms, liquidity refers to the amount of money flowing through the financial system. Throughout history, periods of increasing liquidity have often created favorable conditions for stocks, technology assets, and cryptocurrencies. This is the framework that many market participants are using when they evaluate XRP's potential over the coming months. According to this perspective, the crypto market does not move in isolation. Instead, it is heavily influenced by broader economic trends, central bank policies, interest rates, and investor confidence. When financial conditions become more supportive, capital tends to move toward assets that offer higher growth potential. This is where XRP enters the conversation. Supporters argue that if a new wave of liquidity enters global markets, investors may begin searching for digital assets that have strong brand recognition, real-world utility, and established infrastructure. XRP checks many of those boxes, which is why it remains one of the most closely watched cryptocurrencies despite years of volatility. Another factor driving optimism is the changing perception of digital assets among institutions. Several years ago, many large financial organizations viewed cryptocurrencies as highly speculative investments. Today, that attitude is gradually evolving. More institutions are exploring blockchain technology, tokenization, digital payments, and cross-border settlement solutions. As this trend continues, XRP supporters believe the asset could benefit from increased attention because of its long-standing association with payment efficiency and global transaction networks. At the same time, market psychology is beginning to shift. During prolonged periods of uncertainty, investors often become cautious and defensive. However, when confidence starts returning to the market, sentiment can change very quickly. This transition is important because major bull markets are often driven not only by fundamentals, but also by investor expectations. Once enough participants believe a new growth cycle is beginning, momentum can accelerate as more capital enters the market. This is one reason why discussions surrounding a possible XRP surge are gaining traction across social media, investment communities, and crypto-focused platforms. However, experienced investors understand that timing remains one of the most challenging aspects of any market cycle. Even when the long-term direction appears favorable, short-term volatility can create uncertainty. XRP has experienced this reality many times in the past. Sharp rallies have often been followed by corrections, and periods of optimism have sometimes taken longer to develop than expected. This is why many analysts emphasize patience rather than focusing on a single date or event. The real significance of Raoul Pal's broader thesis is not that a specific day has been revealed, but that multiple macro indicators may be aligning in a way that could support a stronger crypto environment overall. In the next part, we'll examine why XRP's unique position within the digital asset ecosystem is causing many investors to believe it could be one of the biggest beneficiaries if that scenario unfolds. As the discussion around liquidity, market cycles, and institutional participation continues to grow, many investors are now turning their attention to what makes XRP different from thousands of other cryptocurrencies. This is where the conversation becomes especially important. While many digital assets rely heavily on speculation and hype, XRP has spent years building a narrative around utility, efficiency, and global payments. Whether someone agrees with that vision or not, there is no denying that XRP occupies a unique position within the crypto market, and that uniqueness is one of the reasons many analysts believe it could attract significant attention during the next major market expansion. One of the strongest arguments made by XRP supporters is that the asset was designed to address a real-world problem. Traditional cross-border payments can often be slow, expensive, and dependent on multiple intermediaries. The vision behind Ripple's technology has always been to create faster and more efficient movement of value across borders. As digital finance continues to evolve, many investors believe solutions focused on payment efficiency could become increasingly relevant. This belief has helped XRP maintain one of the most loyal communities in the cryptocurrency industry, even during periods when the broader market sentiment was negative. Another reason investors are paying attention is the growing trend toward tokenization and digital financial infrastructure. Around the world, financial institutions are exploring ways to move assets, settle transactions, and manage value using blockchain technology. While the future remains uncertain and competition is intense, many XRP holders believe the asset is positioned to benefit from this transformation. They argue that if financial systems continue moving toward blockchain-based solutions, established networks with strong recognition may receive increased attention from both retail and institutional participants. The market is also entering a stage where investors are searching for narratives that can drive the next cycle. Every major bull market tends to have themes that capture capital and attention. In previous cycles, decentralized finance, non-fungible tokens, and smart contract ecosystems dominated discussions. This time, many market participants believe institutional adoption, tokenization, and payment infrastructure could become some of the most important narratives. If that happens, XRP could find itself directly connected to several of the themes attracting investor interest. At the same time, market participants are closely watching trading activity and capital rotation patterns. Historically, large amounts of money often flow into Bitcoin first, before spreading into other digital assets. Once confidence grows, investors begin searching for alternative cryptocurrencies that they believe offer strong upside potential. This process has occurred in previous cycles and is one of the reasons many XRP supporters remain optimistic. They believe that if the broader crypto market enters a powerful expansion phase, XRP could benefit from both increased liquidity and renewed attention from investors looking beyond the largest assets. This is where Raoul Pal's broader market outlook becomes relevant once again. His thesis is not centered on XRP alone. Instead, it focuses on the possibility that improving macroeconomic conditions could create a favorable environment for risk assets across the board. If that environment develops as expected, XRP supporters believe the asset's combination of utility, visibility, and market recognition could place it in a strong position. But the biggest question still remains unanswered. If the market enters a full-scale bullish phase, how high could XRP realistically go, and what factors would need to align for that scenario to become reality? Now we arrive at the question that has captured the attention of the entire XRP community. If the market conditions that Raoul Pal and many other macro analysts are watching actually materialize, how far could XRP go? This is where excitement, speculation, and market reality all begin to intersect. Every bull cycle creates ambitious price predictions, and XRP has always been one of the assets at the center of those discussions. Some investors focus on conservative targets based on previous market structures, while others believe that a combination of institutional adoption, growing utility, and expanding liquidity could produce price movements that exceed expectations. One of the most important factors to understand is that major price rallies are rarely driven by a single event. Instead, they usually result from multiple catalysts working together. Increased market liquidity, stronger investor confidence, favorable regulations, institutional participation, and positive momentum can all contribute to a powerful upward trend. When these factors begin aligning, market sentiment can shift dramatically. Assets that were overlooked during quieter periods often become the center of attention almost overnight. This is why many XRP holders are closely monitoring developments not only within the Ripple ecosystem, but also across the broader financial landscape. Another element fueling optimism is the growing belief that the cryptocurrency industry is becoming more mature. In previous cycles, many projects were driven primarily by speculation. Today, the conversation increasingly includes infrastructure, payments, tokenization, digital identity, and financial innovation. Investors who support XRP argue that this shift toward practical use cases could work in the asset's favor. If institutions continue exploring blockchain-based solutions, and if digital asset adoption expands globally, XRP could benefit from trends that extend far beyond retail trading activity. However, experienced market participants also recognize the importance of managing expectations. Crypto markets are known for their volatility, and even the strongest bullish trends can experience sharp corrections. Large price swings are a normal part of the industry. This means that while optimism may be increasing, uncertainty remains a key factor. Markets rarely move in a straight line, and investors who focus only on bullish scenarios often underestimate the risks that can emerge along the way. Economic conditions can change, investor sentiment can shift, and unexpected developments can influence market direction at any time. Despite these risks, many analysts believe that the next phase of the crypto market could be one of the most significant in the industry's history. The difference between today and previous cycles is the growing involvement of institutions, increased public awareness, and the gradual integration of blockchain technology into mainstream financial discussions. This is one reason why comments from influential macro investors, such as Raoul Pal, attract so much attention. Market participants are searching for clues about where capital may flow next and which assets could benefit the most from changing economic conditions. As excitement continues building, XRP remains one of the most closely watched digital assets in the market. Supporters believe that if liquidity expands, adoption grows, and investor confidence strengthens, the asset could enter a completely different phase of its market journey. But before making any conclusions, it is important to separate speculation from strategy. In the final part, we'll bring everything together, examine the key takeaways from this discussion, and look at what XRP investors should be watching as the next chapter of the market begins to unfold. As we bring this discussion to a close, it's clear why the XRP community has been paying so much attention to the recent conversations surrounding Raoul Pal and the broader crypto market outlook. While many headlines focus on the idea of a leaked surge date or a specific moment when XRP could explode higher, the bigger message is actually much deeper than that. The real story is about liquidity, market cycles, institutional participation, and the possibility that the cryptocurrency market could be entering a new phase of growth. These are the factors that experienced investors monitor because they often have a much greater impact on long-term price movements than any single prediction or headline. Throughout this video, we've explored how improving macroeconomic conditions could create a favorable environment for digital assets. We've discussed why XRP continues to attract attention despite years of volatility and why many supporters believe its combination of utility, global recognition, and payment-focused vision could position it well if the market enters another major expansion cycle. We've also looked at the role that investor sentiment plays in driving momentum and why capital flows can sometimes transform market conditions much faster than people expect. At the same time, it's important to remember that no analyst, investor, or market expert can guarantee future price movements. The cryptocurrency market remains one of the most dynamic and unpredictable financial sectors in the world. Bullish indicators may develop, adoption may increase, and positive catalysts may emerge, but uncertainty is always part of the equation. This is why successful investors focus on research, risk management, and long-term strategy rather than relying solely on excitement or speculation. What happens next for XRP will depend on a combination of factors. Global liquidity trends, institutional adoption, regulatory developments, market confidence, and overall crypto sentiment will all play a role in shaping the asset's future direction. Whether XRP experiences a gradual climb or a powerful breakout, the coming months could be extremely important for the entire digital asset industry. That's why investors around the world are watching every development closely and looking for signs that the next major phase of the market may be approaching. If you enjoyed this video and found the analysis valuable, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest XRP updates. Also, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe XRP is preparing for a major breakout, or do you think the market still needs more time before the next big move begins? We'd love to hear your perspective. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial, investment, or trading advice. Cryptocurrency investments involve risk, and prices can rise or fall at any time. Always conduct your own research, evaluate your financial situation carefully, and consider consulting a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. Never invest money that you cannot afford to lose. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next Goldix XRP update.